Hello boys and girls. The topic of today's video is how negative forces are using our traumas and our pain to prevent us from stepping in our purpose, to distract us from elevating. The Matrix doesn't want a collective of empowered individuals who stepped into their purpose, because that will collapse the old slave system. So distraction, doubts, and fear are being used against us to stop us. Here's my example. Negative entities have been using my pain around romantic relationships or lack of intimacy or lack in sex life. What these forces are doing is they are seducing me to idea that I deserve a short-term reward, like a dopamine release or instant gratification. And in these moments, when this happens, I operate from lower energy centers or lower chakras, which is closer to the animalistic kingdom and is not operating from the higher centers, that is higher wisdom. And the anchor point for negative entities to be able to transmit or send me suggestive urges is not yet fully resolved childhood trauma. That's the attraction point. This is the point of attraction that allows these negative parasitical entities to attach themselves to us and feed off our life force. And if there is a lack, feeling of lack within us, that is a very strong attachment mechanism to these entities, an invitation. It's like a dark portal or amplifying magnet saying, hey, come over here, because lack invites more lack and more misery and lower vibrations and parasites. And the longer the need for companionship was not met for me, the stronger the drive was to overcompensate that. And that would invite feelings of frustration, neediness, desperation, sometimes even obsession, loneliness, bitterness, and of course, validation seeking, external validation seeking, involving other people to resolve the inner sense of lack. To prove myself that I am actually deserving, and to change the inner narrative that I'm not good enough. The longer the drought period of unmet need, the more opportunities for doubts to show up if the focus is predominantly on external lack and not the internal state or feeling of lack. And in this way, my focus towards what truly matters in my life, which is direction towards my life purpose, my life's work, the focus was hijacked, and the momentum for different creative projects would be interrupted and stopped over and over again. And I would stop the momentum of exploration and discovery because of this. And the creative projects that I initially had a moment of inspiration would then be postponed and put on the back burner. And that would invite a new set of negative feelings. And when this would happen, my overall focus would be even more fragmented. And I would feel more overwhelmed. There would be less clarity. There would be more sense of chaos, more stuckness, more confusion, no integrity or consistency. There would be energy leaks, procrastination, my confidence would go down. And yeah, I would feel like a leaf in the wind that would be pulled into different directions, and there would be no center. I wouldn't be centered. And in a sense, you feel also powerless when you're in this state. One negative feeling or thing would spiral into the next one, and then into the next one. So it would spiral. So you can see how destructive these consequences are. The universe, who also wants to match us, match our desires, match our commitments, what we are mirroring, what we are projecting outside, is confused. And the universe is like, bro, it's like, just decide one thing and commit to that, and I will bring it to you. It's like, otherwise it's like you're on all places, and it's like the radio dial is not clear. It's like you can't hear the radio station. The universe is asking us to decide what's the priority. Otherwise there is too much noise, and if there is too much noise and clutter, we can't hear ourselves, our soul, our higher self that is constantly guiding us and giving us inspirational nudges and urges and sending us like creative thoughts. But like if there is noise, like we're blocking that out and we're oblivious to that. That's sad, right? Because we can't act on that. We can't take action. And it's like we feel like disconnected. So the question then is, what can we do about this? Become aware, where is this coming from? Especially if we start to notice that this is repeating. And then we know, this is a pattern. Okay, what type of repeating thoughts and feelings are there? And what's behind them? What's the narrative? What's the associated memory or feeling or sensation, even if we don't have the memory? And look there. And the more we will be able to start observe us better, the more we will be able to start notice the early initial stages of these negative urges when they are not yet fully strong or as loud, and they haven't developed the negative momentum yet. So we'll be able to catch them in the earlier initial stages and see, this is coming from there. Okay. And you can stop that momentum more easily, because when there is awareness stops the negative momentum, and you're no longer at the mercy of that. You're no longer unconscious. You are conscious, and then you have a choice. For example, there might be presence of feeling of abandonment or fear of rejection. These are all triggers of our early childhood traumas. And instead of rushing to ease them with external validation or external fulfillment, ideally we would sit with these feelings, because the external thing would again serve as distraction, serve as bypass. So ideally we would stay with these feelings and start to notice and observe and feel them and create a space for them to be, just to be. Because the more we allow witnessing these feelings and accepting them unconditionally, without judgments, and not pushing them away, the more the healing happens, the more the integration of these previously pushed away parts of ourselves happen. And then there's more peace coming in, more love, more opening, more vulnerability, less triggers, through acceptance. And this is a muscle that most of us have not developed enough yet, but it's very crucial for our wellness and our ability to remain balanced. And I'm not saying to fully replace relationships with others with just being with ourselves as like fully self-sufficient beings, we don't need others. No, I'm not saying that, because we came here to master relationships, and we are relational, social creatures and beings. And I agree with Teal Swan says that if the trauma happened in relational context, it can fully be healed in relationships, not in a way that we only rely on ourselves. What often happens is that we rely excessively on the others, and we don't focus enough attention to our own inner work as well. So it's like you can see often two extremes. It's either like people rely too much on the external, or they are like relying only on themselves and denying the external as well. That can help and serve as a mirror. Now, a good regular practice to have is to do a regular daily check-ins. Not just once a day, but preferably once in a couple of hours. And pay attention to yourself. And notice, how do I feel? What's my emotional state right now? What are the current thoughts in my mind? What are the sensations in my body? And what do they tell me? It's like, do I feel crappy? If so, why? What's the narrative attached to that? It's like, what's the thought? What's the belief? Do I feel sadness? Because there is a belief in lack of something, I'm lacking something. Or do I feel angry because I was attached to a certain outcome and it didn't happen, and people perhaps stepped over my boundaries, and that triggered the sense of powerlessness? Or maybe I feel fear that I won't be in control in future, and the future won't turn out the way I want it to be. When we check in with ourselves and we notice their feelings or like sensations, then it's like go one layer deeper and ask. It's like, okay, like what's the narrative behind that? And then when we listen to ourselves and we reply in our heads back to our question, what's the narrative? And we're like, oh, okay, I feel angry because this and that and that. Okay. And then investigate that narrative more. Okay. What is so important about this? Or what does this mean about me and that kind of stuff? And go layer by layer deeper. Okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? And eventually what we want is to uncover a need, a core need that we feel is not being met. And that's why this trigger of this, let's say, uncomfortable feeling is showing up in our body, and we feel it as emotion or as sensation. When we find out the need, then it's our job to take care of fulfillment that need, of meeting that need. Meaning, not all needs we can meet on ourselves, on our own. Like, there are certain needs that requires other people to participate, like relational needs. And when, let's say, specific physical needs are not being met for a long time, that can also create a negative emotional charge or stir up, but it only mirrors what was already inside of us prior. We also think about, okay, if I cannot meet these specific benefits with this specific need, can I meet these benefits in alternative way by meeting a different need that would bring in, let's say, a similar emotional benefit? The question is, can I outsource it to myself? If yes, okay. If not, then I look for other alternative ways that involve other people in other contexts. And this is not bypassing. Bypassing is when we feel really negatively, and instead of addressing those inner feelings, inner states, we decide to focus on external fulfillment, let's say sex, to numb this pain down. And that is bypassing, because we're only having a short-term symptom release. We don't focus on the long-term, on the deeper root cause. And this is not healing. This is temporary, this is fleeting, because we haven't developed a deep connection with ourselves deep enough. But we focus on the external validation we focus on external distractions. And what is happening in these moments is we are operating from the consciousness of lack, predominantly taking. And when that happens, we become like black holes, sucking in energy, taking from others, taking. And that can, of course, again, attract negative entities. If we are easily controlled by these short-term symptom release strategies or coping mechanisms, then less power to us. If you are going through a similar process that I described in today's video, and you recognize that you would like to have a help, a support, a one-on-one support, then check out the link down below in the description, and I'll see you. And remember, the power always lies within you.